To be slightly controversial, Sydney has been a developer-led town, and quality of design has suffered a little bit, particularly in recent times. And it's fair to say that, the normal solutions have been fallen back on.
Law firms have typically organised themselves in hierarchies, and large offices were a symbol of authority. And I think what will change in all of this is that the power is the power of the idea. So it's the person who has the best ideas, the best insight, that will be most successful.
What's acceptable? What do people imagine a building should be?
And how can you make a building which is not rather like a sort of 1,000-page telephone book, page after page after page, floor after floor after floor, all of a specific size?
Invention comes through striving to achieve in often a problematic environment.
When Tim O'Sullivan, my partner, heard about this site, it's got 3 street frontages, there's a public square across the road, he approached Mirvac directly. We invited the Rogers office from London to join us. There were the 3 design offices, Roger Sturck Harbour, Lippman Partnership and Arup.
Our relationship there is one of an engineer that is not just an engineer, it's a collaborator.
We are scared always of the future, in a sense. We believe we're only as good as the last building we did. I think what you see here at Chifley is really a great expression of that collaboration.
So typically, a building is a box with high-performance glass and which repels sun and glare. We wanted that skin to be transparent, so both in terms of seeing out and seeing in. So if you look at it that way, with the side core over here and the lift coming up the building, we've got the ground plane, the mid-level breakout space, the upper level breakout space, with voids in the building. So it's really all about community. So instead of being a flat box, it's articulated, there's shadow and light. So it's a series of piazzas and squares and places for people to meet and congregate. There's very little private cellular space in the building.
This is the tallest 30-storey building in the world, we can say. It's all about getting views. This site is extraordinary because we're sort of forced to make that community because the floor plates are not big enough.
And therefore we came up with this idea of these stacked villages where there were voids in the building.
There's a great economy about this building, which is, I think, the sign of a good building. It's not in terms of cheapness, but in its use of an expression of the parts. The pieces here do the job just, and they do it very clearly. You understand how it hits the ground, you understand how it reaches to the sky, you also understand how it doesn't fall over.
Designing an express structure is undoubtedly more complex. The attention to detail that you must take to all the components is different to when you can just clad it and hide it away. But of course, being more complex, it is also much more interesting.
The art of engineering, the engineering of architecture, this building really delights in its visible details.
Some really good examples at 8Chifley might be the glazed box within the foyer space, where it was all about a ethereal glass box without any obvious support structure within there. I think an expressed and open design is difficult to engineer. That openness and the clarity of the envelope, which was so important to the architects and to the client as well, brings real challenges about how you're going to service a building and how you actually build it.
I think the engineer is coming to the forefront again as a more visible partner. The nodes, which might look expensive with the stainless steel pins, actually doing that detail saved 50% of the steel in the bracing.
We used to think that when the IT explosion, probably that's the end of offices, you can do it from your bed after all. But actually what we found is there's even more demand. It's not so much because of work is more demand, but the same demand between people meeting people.
It's to do with working together, working as a team. And that's the way business is being done these days. It's no longer isolation, working alone in a silo.
I feel that coaching, mentoring, feedback is a very important part of what we're doing, and this physical space supports that process.
We've got kind of the atrium spaces within the building, which make sure that we've got social connectivity within there. People can speak to each other more easily. It brings health aspects, people actually moving between floors, and actually I would challenge MD who believes in a kind of enclosed and kind of, shall we say, a dark box to come into this building. As you walk into the atrium spaces, the openness, the kind of the light, the kind of the views, you can't help but be impressed by it. It's just a spectacular place to be in. Chifley really is one of the first new breed of buildings in this energy performance. Some of the technology systems that went into it, like the trigeneration and black water treatment plants, kind of have helped push towards that. 6-star demonstrates world leadership in sustainable performance of this building.
Australia's vision of workplace, Australia's vision of sustainability really is at the forefront in the world.
The work is 100 hours long and 300 different texts. Those are songs, poems, autobiographies by 80 different writers. A focus on the writings of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander authors. And it's very positive that it's rapidly ascending toward the sky. You want to ascend with it. It is definitely right out there in the public realm.
Tonight is the official opening. It's the night that Mirvac shows it off. It's the night that we can all say it's finished. And it really is finished. Tenants have moved in, so and it's now a public building.
What's it really like? Because no matter how many CGIs and images and drawings, until you're standing there, you don't know what it feels like.
Well, there's a lot of wow. About the building. A lot of recognition that this is a signature building.
Those hours, those nights, the blood, the sweat, it's all there. It's on the drawings, it's in the building, you see it everywhere.
Someone the other day was telling me that they thought it was more like a university campus than an office building. I think that's a good thing because it's to do with working together, working as a team.
Well, I love the terrace area. I love spending time out there. I can be Wi-Fi connected, I can be overlooking the harbour. What I've already noticed is people collaborating and meeting around the terrace area up here on the 18th floor. People who otherwise wouldn't spend a lot of time together are actually discussing issues, talking about clients, and that's great stuff.
When we walk around the street, this building has a huge interest, and actually a lot of that is about its look and the engineering.
We believe that all buildings have to give back to the public realm. Let's face it, this building is part of the city is for our people, the citizens. Not only does it do this extraordinary thing to the passer-by, it gives over virtually, 70 or 80% of its surface to the public all day long, all night. It's a generosity of space for all of those within as well as without. Pretty unique for a tall building.
You know, people like it, people don't like it. Some people have called it a throwback to the 60s, you know. I heard a couple of people on the street call it the IKEA building.
You know, this is stage 2, let's say, in the creation of you know, Chifley Square, the square for the city. Stage 3, yet to happen, that's when they take the cars out, they pave the space, and all of a sudden, you know, Sydney has a fantastic public space for the people of Sydney, not for the cars, for the people.
What you can now see is the result of a lot of consideration for the big idea and also the fine detail. And that is also something which is quite rare, particularly in the CBD of Sydney.
Well, I was mindful of Winston Churchill, who I think said, we shape our buildings and thereafter our buildings shape us.